Yesterday, a unanimous panel from the Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that Donald Trump is not, in fact, immune from investigation. He is not above the law, and he therefore must turn over his tax returns, 8 years of them, to Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, who is investigating Donald Trump and the Trump Organization to find out what exactly happened with those hush money payments. Now, Donald Trump's lawyer, Jay Sekulow, has announced that they will, in fact, be appealing this to the Supreme Court. So that's the next step for this case. However, legal analysts are already out there saying the Supreme Court really can't do too much with this because the Second Circuit was smart. And the Second Circuit wrote their opinion in such broad, sweeping language that the Supreme Court's going to have a tough time trying to say that, no, this is wrong. And here, in a very tiny nutshell, is what the Second Circuit said. While the president may be immune from prosecution, he is not immune from turning over evidence that could be part of a criminal investigation, even if that investigation ends up wrapping himself into it. Again, that's the nutshell. The ruling was dozens of pages. If you want to go through and see the whole thing, feel free to do that. And I do encourage people to do that if you have the time. But they preserved the part of, well, the president may not be able to be prosecuted. If he's got evidence that's relevant to a criminal investigation, he has to turn that over. So here are the three options that the Supreme Court has. The first and most likely is that they don't take the case at all. They say, no, we're not going to hear it, so the Second Circuit's decision will stand. Trump has nowhere to go. He has to turn over the tax returns, or else he does get arrested. Option number two, they hear the case, and by some miracle, you get enough conservatives on that court to vote with the liberal justices, and they say, you know what? Yes. You have to turn over your tax returns. The Second Circuit's ruling was sound, was logical. You have to do this. Now, this is actually not that far-fetched. One, because the Supreme Court owes nothing to Donald Trump, even the people he put on there. We have seen Chief Justice John Roberts break with conservatives on several shocking occasions. He's also been a very staunch conservative on other occasions, so we can't count on anything, but they've got their appointment for life. They're set. They don't owe anybody anything else anymore. They can't be touched, basically. So, yeah, they can do whatever they want. Now, I think it's stupid to bank on that, but it's a real thing with real possibilities. Also, they understand that if they give this broad sweeping immunity to the President of the United States, it doesn't just stay with Donald Trump. It goes to the next president and the next one and every other one after that. And eventually you're going to get a Democrat in office who's going to do something really bad. I mean, statistically, yes, it's eventually going to happen. And then you're kind of stuck because Republicans, you can't remove that guy because of the Trump decision. And the court knows that, and they don't want to screw the country down the road, or what they think would screw the country down the road. So there's a good chance they would say, no, I'm sorry, you got to turn over the tax returns. Third option, obviously, they hear the case and they say, no, Trump doesn't have to turn over his tax returns. Then we enter a new era of fascist dictatorship here in the United States. Also a very real possibility. But, and this is the most important thing that I want any Trump supporter watching this to take away with them. The president is trying to hide something, and he's tried to hide it now through several different court rulings, all of which have gone against him. And if he had nothing to hide, he wouldn't be hiding. And what they're trying to hide here, what Cy Vance in Manhattan's trying to find out, is how they wrote off those payments to Michael Cohen, who then paid off the women who Donald Trump swears he didn't have affairs with, yet he still paid them $130,000 and $150,000 each. That's a lot of money to not have sex with Donald Trump, but I'm sure there's lots of people who would be willing to take that sum to not have to have sex with Donald Trump. Nonetheless, they want to know how he wrote it off, because evidence suggests that they wrote it off as a standard legal fee when in fact it was a bribe hush money payment. And that would be illegal. That would be tax fraud. And then the president's in some serious trouble. And again, he wouldn't be trying to hide 8 years worth of his tax returns if there was nothing in there worth hiding. Thanks for watching, everybody, and don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.